what a great squad, and that he's brought in, and you look at the lads like say like the likes of Tony McNamee, hasn't really been given a fair crack this year. Really, he's been in and out, but hasn't really played. We look at Ryan Rainey, who came in one of the games. It was a tail end of a home game. I can't remember who it was against now, but did quite well. Didn't pull up trees, but it was a 10-minute spell that he got. But again, hasn't really been seen since. So Niall McGinley, I don't think has featured at all. Who has who for me is a good attacking player. He played the season that we went up maybe 3 years ago. He played and started a lot of games, but then
was he good? Was he good, Kyle?
He was good. He was very capable. He wasn't lost at that level. You know what I mean? But sometimes you like so now we're going to go to Waterford. A couple of days later, and then you're looking at, well, are you going to give these lads a run now? Are you telling me that some of these lads can play a couple of games in a couple of days, and without the proper recovery, without some of the lads have been out working, some of the lads, don't get me wrong, all these lads will have done their best to make sure they're in the best possible shape to Waterford. But you have to use your squad. You have to give these lads an opportunity. You have to give them a bit of belief that they're going to play at some time, because you know what, the summer transfer window's coming up, and those lads will be saying, you know what, thanks very much for that. That was a massive waste of time. I'm done. You have to give them at least give them some sort of game time. Give them some sort of game. But then what's going to happen this week is that they're going to go to Waterford. Waterford's struggling. They're thinking, we have to win this game. So we have to get what I think is the best 11, tape up whoever might be struggling. Somebody might be at 50%. Now, just taking, for example, the likes of a Barry McNamee, a Foley, maybe O'Sullivan, somebody got there, might be hanging together, but he's our best player, so I'm gonna put him on. You know what I mean? So I think they have to look at that. They have to think about introducing some of these lads early on now. Give them, as I say, give them that belief that they are going to play, and then come the tail end of the season when you need them, when boys are struggling, Ollie or Higgsy will have known that I can trust this man because I had him in there.
I can trust him.
You know what I mean? So you have to give these lads a go. I think we spoke about before, Chief, as well. With having a squad, having a big squad, it's happened about it's happened for years, where you had the luxury of, like, say, the League Cup there, and you would have had players in and around the squad, and you might have been playing, say, maybe a Cockhill or maybe Galway or Derry or something like that there, and he would have made 7, 8, 9 changes. And as sometimes almost unfortunate for the guys coming in, because then you're playing with guys that haven't had much game time, and you're playing against a Cockhill side, who
are up and at it, and they're buzzing for it. It's a tough game.
It's a horrible game to play in. It's one of those games where you can't really win, because if you do win, you're supposed to beat them, and if it's closer, you don't beat them. Then
it's a disaster. Exactly. And then 100%. They're nightmare games. They're the worst games to play in.
They are, but then the management then can use that stick against you. You know what I mean? So that if you're playing with a brand new team and things don't go your way, and then if you're going to management maybe 3 or 4 weeks later and saying, look, why am I not playing? I should be playing. They can revert back to, well, you got the opportunity and you didn't, in a one-off game. So no, I just think that
I'm laughing at Nisho Farrell's comment. He said the Jobby squad is well staffed this year.
I'd say it's as strong a Jobby squad, Chief, since you've been there.
I'll tell you what, it's as good. I would struggle to get into that Jobby squad. I'd say I mightn't even make the 20.
20 as well. 20.
That's a joke too.
Because there's some lads that are in the 20. Some of the lads aren't even making the 20 squad of 20. Imagine where their heads are at. 20 squad.
I just think your overall point there's bang on the money. It's I think sometimes Harps fans and different people involved don't really understand fully the sacrifice. Those lads have been training since January, 3-4 times a week. And you're January, February, March, April, May, you're coming to 6 months. Yeah. And there's some lads that haven't played, like Niall McGinley's featured. Rainey's got 20 minutes. It's very hard for them, as much as we said earlier on that Rainey needs to be patient and that, because I felt that those lads would get opportunities, and the nature of the League of Ireland through injury, suspensions, and as you say, form and stuff.
Yeah.
It is hard to justify for him,
Yeah.
why he would continue, because you just want an opportunity. If I'm sure Ryan Rainey, like everyone else, if you get an opportunity and you're miles off it, you know yourself, you're miles off it, and you haven't played well. If you play 2, 3, 4, 5 games and you're not up to, people can see it, we can see it watching.
Yeah.
But Rainey could potentially leave Harps, and we can't say here he wasn't good enough for senior football.
No,
because we don't know.
Nobody really knows.
He wasn't given an opportunity. Like, sure, if you don't play, how are you supposed to know? Like, and I think that could be a real shame. And I think we spoke about it before. I've seen Johnny Dunleavy come back in, and Johnny's had a great career in the League of Ireland. Obviously, he's been dogged by injuries and stuff, and he's great experience. But Johnny's at the tail end of his career. Ryan Rainey's someone, if you give him an opportunity, he could play for Harps for 5, 6 years or longer. Like, he could be a real top player. Because I just think, again, it's that short-term thinking where you're thinking, if I invest in Ryan Rainey, he's local. He's a good player. He's got good pedigree. He was at Wolves. He was a top player in the senior league. If I trust him and he'll get better the more he plays at this level, then he could end up playing 100 games, 200 games for Harps. But it doesn't seem to be happening. And as you say, it is disappointing, and you've probably seen it happen up there, and I've seen it happen up there before. But
I suppose we're on that as well. Like obviously Johnny's come in, and obviously Johnny just wants to play football, and he wants an opportunity to play wherever it is. So it's not like we're criticizing Johnny Dunleavy for coming in and playing. Like he doesn't pick the team; he just want to try and play. But where maybe the management might have to look at it and think, well, like, yes, Johnny, he's had his injury concerns, and look, obviously he's deemed fit enough to play.
Yeah.
But if I have someone who is fit and who can operate in those roles, like, why wouldn't I give him? It's just as you're saying, Steve, I'm really just repeating what you're saying. Why wouldn't I give that man an opportunity? Why wouldn't I give him? Like, do you think if likes of Ryan Rainey was at Derry, would he get the chance to play?
It's probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but probably. Like, I mean, I just seen there Patrick Ferry played up top. I think he came in for Parkhouse for Derry there at the weekend. Ronan Boyce, like, say for example, your man Boyce wouldn't play for Harps. I don't think Ollie would pick him. I think if Ronan Boyce was at Ollie's disposal, he wouldn't play him. He'd go for he'd go for Aiton Boyle at right back or Johnny Dunleavy, and I don't think Patrick Ferry would play either. I think it's in their DNA at Derry, and again, look, we all slag there, but I do think it's in their DNA to give young players an opportunity. And like we have Mark Walsh came back from Swansea. I think he was up at Harps last summer. I don't know what happened. But he's at Derry. Now, I know he came on against Bows, did quite well. He didn't feature last weekend. I think he's picked up an injury. That's 3 Donegal lads in playing for Derry. It always seems to happen. And I think the reason it happens is I think if you look at the evidence over the years, you've seen it with Barry himself, Barry McNamee, and different players. Yeah. They get games, they get played. I just think Ollie, the type of manager he is, he doesn't want lads that aren't right at this level. Now, people say, sure, Stephen Doherty's playing, and Stephen Doherty is playing, he's doing well. But again, will Stephen Doherty have an extended stay in the team? I don't know. I hope he does. I know Mark Coyle's in there. It's not that he's not playing local players, but I definitely don't think someone like Boyce and those lads wouldn't play. I don't know if you think maybe I'm being harsh. Would you think that? You're a defender, you know the way Ollie thinks, you know the way Ollie sets up teams. Does he fit into that category to play? He likes his defenders big and physically strong. And not Boyce is a big lad, but I think it's a difficult one to say now because Boyce has done so well for Derry that you're thinking, I'd definitely pick him. He's come in, he's played really well. He scored a couple of goals. He scored the winner down in Waterford last week, this weekend, which is excellent. I think that it's a difficult question to answer now because he has started so well. I was critical of him last week, I suppose. It was 2 weeks ago, maybe against Longford, for the goal that I conceded on the wrong side. But because he has done so well, I'm sort of forgetting this lad's 18. This lad's 18 years of age or 19 years of age, and he's playing Premier League of Ireland football. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to make mistakes.
Of course he is. And
that's what I mean. Like, these lads will make mistakes, and I'm sure if Rainey came in, he'd make mistakes too. It's adapting to a different level. But it's got to be. There has to be a bit of a sort of a projected sort of gamble where you're saying, well, he will make mistakes, but I think he's good enough at this level. And then if he is good enough, then you're going to have a player there for a large number of years. We've talked about this before with other players. Like, is Ethan Boyle going to be at Harps for the next 5-6 years? I don't know. Like, he's obviously not local and that. So it's just, I think Jared McLaughlin's made a point. He says, in all these defence here, lads, could it not be the case that some of the boys you are mentioning are not doing enough in training? It's very hard to make a comment when we don't see what's happening on the training pitch. Now, the only point I would say that's fair enough. But again, training and matches are a completely different ball game. Like, there's been plenty of lads who don't do it in the training pitch, even though you have to have high standards in training, but can do it in a match and come alive in a match and the competitive edge and stuff that's there in the game. I just feel give players an opportunity. If you give them an opportunity, they're not good enough. They're not going to play. That's fine. Nobody's going to be coming on here saying, "Oh, here, look, I know Ryan Rainey's made 4 mistakes in 4 games. What he needs to just persevere with them." But if you're not giving anyone an opportunity, you're giving boys 20 minutes and they eventually leave. What is the point?
But even at that, look, as like I suppose the way this conversation sort of started, we were looking at the last 8 games. Lads might be flying in training.
1 and 8.
Lads might be flying in training, but they haven't performed in the last 8 games to justify their selection. You know what I mean? For me, I know, like you can be the best.
That's a great point. That's you're bang on the money there. Like, it's not that Harps have won 7 out of the last 8 and he can't change the team. There's been 1 and 8 and the team's not changing. That's the frustrating part, I think.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Now, Jazza makes a valid point. A lot to do with training as well. But we've often heard that all lads, he's a bad trainer. But comes alive in games. That's what the most important thing is. I think. But yes, you want lads to train well and you want them to be about it. But for me, no, it's the games where it's where you earn your crust. Like you might be the best trainer in the world when it comes to games. You're no good then. That's sort of
even in terms of fitness too. Like, you could train every single day of the week. Match fitness.
Match sharpness is the one. Yeah, that's the one.
All there as well. But nah, it's just look. I would be disappointed as a fan and to see some lads maybe leave in next month. And again, hard to argue with them leaving. Yeah. But I'd be disappointed to see them leave. I felt passionately that time with Ryan McConnell. I felt, and I think Tony made a reference as well. But like, McConnell came in and trained a bit with us at Rovers, like, and he was a good lad. Like, sometimes you'd be thinking, this boy's coming back from Manchester United, he might be smelling himself. Wasn't any of that. You obviously trained him when he was at Harps. He played against Cork Hill, Chief. He played against Cork Hill. Mm-hmm. It's very hard to say he wasn't good enough to play for Harps. He might not have been, but he wasn't given an opportunity. It's very hard to say. I don't know. Maybe you can shed light into the McConnell situation. No, I know. I'm not saying he should have played ahead of you, but like
that was the worry for me. I was.
You want him out.
He's miles off it. He hasn't a clue.
He's in there chatting about Rashford. He's in there chatting about Marcus Rashford. Get him out of here.
He said all he hasn't a clue. Right? So no, because I remember obviously when McConnell came in, obviously played centre half, so you see him as a threat straight away. I think that's natural enough. Like, but absolute gem, great lad, great fella, technically excellent. And I thought, watching him in training and stuff, and I was like, he definitely has a bit about him, like and then wasn't really getting his opportunity. Again, not tried. Got a game against Cork Hill, and then I think that was it. And it was, I remember speaking
to the Mallard then, didn't he? I think Dykes seen enough of him to take him to Ballina Mallard, so. Yeah,
so no, like, disappointing for him as well, because I say great fella, absolute gent. Would have liked to see him done better, but again, that probably would have been to my detriment. So it's maybe happy enough to see him move on. You think pressure drops?
Your face doesn't fit here, Ryan. On you go. But I just feel like, again, like, there was a lad that was at Manchester United from Donegal, like, and he's back here. He's a local. Jesus Christ! If you give him an opportunity, as I say, he could go on and play a couple hundred games for Harps, and you could build your back four around him when you moved up to East Belfast for when the money came calling. McConnell could have been a great replacement for you. But do you know what I mean? Like,
he went to Rovers. He obviously had a bit of invest money too.
What's that? No, cut that out. No, but like, they brought your man Cantwell that time as well from Galway, who like was surplus to requirements at Galway, and he came up and he played, and I think he played 20-odd matches, and you think if McConnell had maybe played 20-odd matches, it might have been again a better thing. But it's a difficult one to put your finger on. I think you touched on it earlier. Is it a trust thing? Why do you sign these lads? I don't know. It's a tough one. Great response there. Keep Tony McNamee sitting there. So
I'm not sure.
The Swilly man's backing you up here. Kevin Lowther says that more of a thing. Ollie has to look after players travelling from other counties and has to play them to keep them happy. I put that to you, Count.
Yeah, I think that's always kind of been the way. Sort of, you have to justify. I think as a manager bringing these lads in, like the lad is coming in and getting 300 quid, has to be played from the lad who's down the road who's maybe getting 100. Like, so, I think that's always been the way. But I think that's the way in every club. Like the manager has to justify these signings that he makes. And I was surprised that some of the lads that did sign back after last year and the way that maybe they weren't maybe played as often last year and they were kind of come in quite early, But then again, I was delighted at some of the lads that came back because it really did make this, as we talked about, a strong squad. But a strong squad, right? A strong squad only happens if everyone's getting a fair crack at it, right?
100%.
Because you can have the strong squad soon diminishes once lads aren't getting a game, and then
100%.
Fortunately, because of the league that we play in, it's different maybe in England or Scotland or Spain or wherever, top leagues in the world, lads getting thousands of pounds. It can be quite easy enough to sit there when you're getting big money.
Absolutely.
But then once you're not, and the first team is starting to take its shape, and there's other lads that aren't getting a sniff, then it's the wee cliques start to form, and you see it all the time. The wee cliques start to form, and he's
the jobby squad.
The jobby squad, but you know what I mean. Like that happens, and when lads,
it's only natural. It's only natural. It's like a support group for players that have been ostracized from the squad, and
that happens, and is even worse by results. So if the results are good. This wee jobby squad doesn't really materialize. This jobby squad can't say nothing. But when the results are bad and